All right, welcome to Python 102, session 4. I've updated the session code here. 2 games. So today we're gonna, today in session 5, we're going to start applying our Python knowledge to more interesting applications. So it's available here in Moodle. It's also available here on GitHub in Python 102 session 4. So I've already opened this up in my version of Jupyter Notebooks. So today we'll code 2 games, a number guessing game and also tic-tac-toe. And then in session 5, we'll use Python to create an automatic update for a website. For example, say like a news website or a job search website or something. Anytime there's like an update, we can have Python go check that web page, see if the information's been updated, and then send us an automatic update, maybe to our email or to or to our social media. So that we'll have that application on next Friday. So today for the we'll start with the number guessing game. This one's a little bit simpler, and tic-tac-toe is a little bit more complicated to implement. But first, let me introduce the number guessing game. So a number guessing game, I guess I could put in some explanation here. I'll write this in later, but the number guessing game, basically, if I say choose a number between 1 and 100, and then you will tell me a number, you'll say, give me a number. 10. Okay, and then I will tell you either you got that number, either you guessed the number I was thinking of, or you're lower, or you're higher. So say my number is 54, that's what I'm thinking. And you said 10, and I will say, that's lower, too low. Guess again, all right? And now you're gonna guess between 10 and 100, right? And you'll say 70, and I'll say, oh, that's too high. And so we'll keep narrowing the range until you guess the accurate number. And the other thing that we want to track with this number guessing game, so we want to run that game and allow the user to give multiple guesses. But we also want to keep track of how many tries it took you. Did you guess the number in 3 tries or 10 tries, right? So we can also track that. So that's the kind of general explanation of the number guessing game. So I'll write that in here later. So there are a few steps that we can do to create this game. First of all, we're going to create a class. Secondly, we're going to create a class that holds all of the constants all of the variables and all of the methods that we'll need to run this game. And then when we actually run the game, we'll create an object of that class and actually run it. So so first of all, let's create the class. So we learned last week, how do we create a class? Do you remember? Let's pull up the old week 3. How do we define a class in Python? So here's the old, here's our code from session 3. To create a class, we write class and then the name of that class. And then we can start to define the class constants and methods. Right? So here, let's call this class number game. Okay. And then we'll have some constants and methods. So that's that's the basic game, but we have to actually put something in there. So the second step here is that we need, at the very least, what do we need for this number game? We need a secret number. And let's just, for now, let's just define that as, I don't know, we'll say 50. And let's put this together. And we also need a number, a range. So is this going to be between what and what? So for now, let's just create the lower limit as 1 and the upper limit as 100. Okay. So we can change these later. And remember, let's create an initial method to set the number range and secret number. So remember, the initial function allows us to set some of the class constants when we define the game. Right? So we called it a class constructor, but here it's the structure is this. So it's a function where the name of the function is actually this initialized, and then we put in self and also any of the values that we want users to be able to input. Right? So for ours, I'll just copy and paste this. So when we initialize this, what are the values that we want the user to so we want to allow them to choose the secret number. So I'm going to write these differently than these, just to illustrate that these are actually function parameters, and these are class constants, and that they're not exactly the same. So we've got the secret number, and what else? What's that? Lower limit and upper limit. So actually, if it's going to be the secret number, maybe we don't want the user to define the secret number, right? Why don't we allow the user to define the lower limit and the upper limit, but then have Python secretly choose our secret number? Right? So if we let the user define the secret number, then the game's over, right? They already know. So let's just have the user specify the lower limit and the upper limit, and then self lower limit here with the underscore, right? This is the constant, will equal the lower limit, and self upper limit will equal the parameter, input parameter, upper limit. And now we want to set the secret number. We want Python to automatically set the secret number to something between the lower limit and the upper limit, but randomly. Right? So how can we do that? This is something we haven't looked at before. So let's do in Python random number generator between A and B. So if you want to generate generate a random integer, here's a random import range. Let's see. So here's a function from the package random where you can generate a random int between a lower and an upper limit. So we're going to use this. So first we'll import random. And then in here, we're not going to print it, but we will use random int. And instead of 0 and 9, what are we going to use? We're going to use this lower limit. And we're going to use the upper limit. And notice we're copying and pasting. We're not just putting lower limit, but also we're using self dot lower limit to indicate that this is the lower limit of this particular object, right? When we call this class. So this should create set our three constants equal to each other. And let's have it, when we create this, let's also output something to kind of let the user know that we've successfully done this, right? So you have set your lower, let's see. So let's kind of be cheeky about it. I mean, we might put these. Well, actually, let's do this later. Let's do this when we start actually playing the game. So I think this is this is fine. And then if we look, we can test it. So now we can, let's say game 1 is number game. We can call this, right? And we can put in the lower limit and the upper limit. So let's say we want to create this number game with the number between 1 and 100. So we call the class using this constructor, and we ignore this self that's in there, but we don't put that in here. And then we put in the lower limit, what we want, and the upper limit. And if we do this, it should create a game. Right? And let's kind of peek. Right now we can use these, we can kind of peek at the lower limit and upper limit and secret number of this game. So let's look at the lower limit. And the lower limit's 1. And we can peek at the, let's print lower limit. Upper limit. And remember, Python doesn't have security functions, right? So we can even peek at the secret number if we want to. I mean, just to see what it did. Okay, so it randomly chose the secret number to be 5. Now, if we run this again, I'm going to run this again. Because we use this random integer to set the secret number, every time that we instantiate number game, it's going to choose a different secret number. Okay, so if I run this again, now the secret number is 46. If I run it again, now the secret number is 82. Right, so every time I run it, it's calling this function. It's setting the lower and upper limit to whatever I tell it to, and it's calling a random integer, right? It's using this random integer function to choose the secret number. Let's try some other. Let's say we choose. Let's just kind of error test it, right? So what's it going to do if I say let's play a game where the lower limit and the upper limit are the same? Right? So no problem. right? It'll set the lower limit and upper limit to 51, but it'll choose the secret number has to be 51, right? What if I set the lower limit higher than the upper limit? What should happen now? Is it going to give us any trouble? So these two lines of the function are fine because they don't know that the lower is supposed to be lower than the upper. They don't care. But this one might, because this function probably expects this number to be smaller than that one, right? So let's see what happens. Yeah, and it kicks an error, right? Because this random integer function here, right, is expecting a positive range between those numbers. So we do need to put some kind of error checking in here, right? So if lower limit is greater than upper limit, then print please choose an upper limit please make sure your upper limit is larger than your lower limit. Okay. Else we can carry on. Okay. So we've done some little error checking, and now if we run this, it should print out that error, or it should print that out. And so we could do it again. And now 86. And let's try like between 1 and 10. Right, secret number 6. So, okay, so we're instantiating the game, right? So that's fine. So that's step 1. We've created a class for the game with a lower limit and upper limit and a secret number and a constructor to set to get the game going. Now step 2. So we've done that. Now we need to, let's create a class, a method where we compare the input to the secret number. So we need to allow the user to input a number. Right? So we're going to manage the input and output later when we implement the gameplay, right? But this is kind of a preliminary method. So let's assume that we're playing the game and the user has given us a number, has chosen a number. Now we have to decide, is this number, did they guess the number correctly? Or is it too low or is it too high, right? So we could just implement all of this thing in one big function, but I want to break it into smaller functions. So I'm going to break it into smaller tasks. So this task is, we want to create a method that compares the input to the secret number, right? So let's call this, in the methods, we'll call this define compare. So what needs to be in this function? What do we need to pass into this function? So in the middle of the gameplay, the user is going to be entering in guesses, right? And then we're going to take that guess and we're going to compare it to the secret number. And if it's the same, we'll say, congratulations, you guessed the secret number, or we'll say it's too high or too low, right? So when you're comparing, let's say, input to secret number, let's just call this the guess. Let's compare guess to secret number. So we'll call this the guess. And then we have 3 cases. right? The first case is if guess equals a secret number, print congratulations. You guessed the secret number. But what if guess is, what do we do if guess is larger than the secret number? So here we'll use an elif. If guess is greater than the secret number, print, sorry, you guessed too high. Okay. But yeah, okay. Is there anything else we need to do? Okay, yeah, so yeah, and then if it's lower, okay. And then here, do I need an if or an elif or an else? Yeah, we can do an else because it's the last, and we don't need this logic, right? Because it's the only possible remaining case. Here, you guess too low. Okay. Anything else we need to do? So it depends on like how much we want to put into this function and how much we want to put into other functions. So here, let's for now, let's just leave this, right? Well, yeah, okay, so let's leave this. We'll come back to this. So now for the class method to implement gameplay. Well, okay, so we can test this out. So we've got so we're playing this game. The lower limit is 1, the upper limit is 10, and the secret number is 8. And let's just run this compare guess the secret number. So to do that, we try game 1, compare guess the secret number, and let's put in a guess. What do you want to guess? Let's just go through each of these cases, right? So you can test 8. Oops. Did we define it yet? We need to put in. Maybe we need to put in self. We'll have to put in this one. Uh-oh. Okay, so the secret, so when we reinstantiated, secret number is 10 and we guessed 8, right? And so we guessed too low. So let's try, let's do this again so we get a number. Okay, so now we put in 8 and we guessed too high, right? Let's put in 7. Congratulations, you guessed the secret number 7. Right, let's try 6. You guessed too low. What if we put in like, -5? Okay, it's still accepting it and it's still giving us the proper response, right? But it's not telling us that this is outside of the limits of the game, right? So this is one way that we can break the game, or just kind of, we can put in 100. Yes, that's too high, even though it's outside of the range. So we could put some additional error checking in here, right? To say, please choose a number within the range of 1 and 10, right? But I'll leave that to you guys to do on your own. Okay, so we're almost done. Now we actually have to kind of implement the game. So we need one more class to implement gameplay. So let's call this def play game, or let's just call it play. So we have this function to compare, and we know we have the lower limit, the upper limit, and the secret number. So how are we going to keep this? What's the first thing that you want to do when we start playing this game? So far, we didn't tell them, like we haven't, right? And when we initiated this function, we did have this error checking, but we didn't have any. We didn't tell the user, like, yeah, we've created the game, like we've defined the upper and lower limit, right? So let's begin the game with some output for the user, right? Let's play the number game. Was it the number guessing game? Where are we? Here. Please choose a number between, and then we'll put in, between the lower limit. And because this is inside of a class, right, we need the self and upper limit. Okay. So we start that. Now, how can we have play kind of maintain the state of the game while the user is guessing? So this is kind of a trick. So we're going to use a while loop. Okay. While, and we need some kind of a state variable. We need to be able to track the state of the game, right? So in this case, the game is either the user has guessed the number and the game's over, or the user has not guessed the number, right? And the game will keep going, right? And so that's how we're going to use that's how we can use a while loop with a state, some kind of indicator of the state. So, and actually that's going to be a constant. So I'm going to add this to the constant. It's going to be a Boolean, right? A true or a false. And let's just call this game on. Okay. As long as the game is on, we keep going. And when is the game off? When you guess the correct number. Okay. So right now game on is true. So while self game on, we'll keep doing this. Okay. But there are two places, if we're going to use this game on, there are two places where we need to update. So first of all, when we start the game, when we initiate it, we should also turn on to make sure that game on is equal to true, right? So when we instantiate the game, we'll set game on equal to true at the same time that we define the upper and lower limit, right? That's part of instantiating the game, is making sure that the game is on. Okay, so we'll put that in the constructor. And the other place where we need it is in this method that we're going to call this compare guess to secret number, right? Because here when will the state of the game change? When will game on change? Under which of these cases? So game on is true. When do we want game on to become false? What's that? Yeah, right. So when guess equals secret number, we're going to print this, but we're also going to set game on to false. Okay. And in fact, we can have this function return game on. So if we do this, not only is this function going to print, whether we guessed correctly or not and turn the game off, but in fact, we could just we'll set it equal to false, and also we'll return it. So with each guess, we're going to return the game on, and if game on is return it, and if we return it as true, we'll keep playing, and if we return it as false, the game's going to end, right? So that's in this compare to guess the secret number. So now let's go back up here to play. So this is kind of open the game. Let's actually include this initiation function inside of play here. So when you open the game, why don't we? So because right now we don't have any kind of input output, right? We're not telling the user to enter the lower limit or the lower upper limit, right? So we can actually manage that here. Well, let me see. I think we have to manage that inside of here. So okay. Now, this is something we also haven't done before. We haven't interacted with users, allowing users to enter values, right? So in Python, how do you allow a user to enter values. So we can look at this. There's a tutorial here for Python user input. So I'm going to put this reference in the here. So this is a tutorial on accepting user input. So here you put, instead of, you don't need to print, instead you can just use this input method. So we can say username or whatever the value is equals input, and it'll prompt, this is the prompt that it will show to the user. And then whatever the system, whenever the user enters something, then it'll save that as our value, right? So here, please enter a lower limit. And here we don't even need to put this in as a parameter because we're accepting this, we're prompting this from the user. And then the upper limit here will be here. And then let's have kind of an output here. Actually, we can report it here. Okay, so this is when we instantiate this function, now it's going to prompt our users for a lower limit and an upper limit. And then we'll report back, you have selected a lower limit of this and an upper limit of that. If the limits are, if the lower limit is larger than the upper limit, we'll report this. And let's say, what should game on be if the lower limit is larger than the upper limit? Let's make it false, right? And this is how we make sure that we're going to turn the game off if they, we're going to turn the game off if they didn't input the proper limits, right? So we'll make game on false. And if they did, if the limits are appropriate, then we'll turn the game on. So this is our modified constructor. Okay, now let's open the game. So we have to do this first to create the game, and then we can play the game. And then, so it's when we use the play function, it'll say, let's play the number guessing game. They'll have already chosen the, you chose, so here we can say, please choose a number between lower limit and upper limit, right? Okay, now we're going to move into the while loop. Okay, so this print, you're going to print that one time, and then everything else that happens from this point on is going to be around. Okay? Like they're going to enter a number, you're going to evaluate it. You'll either turn the game on or off. You know, if they guess it, you'll turn the game off and end. If they didn't guess it, you'll have them guess again, right? And you don't know how many times this is going to take, and that's why it's better to use a while loop with a Boolean flag, right, than a for loop, because you don't know how many times to run this, right? It depends on how long it takes them to guess the accurate number, right? So while game is on, we will run this compare this function. We'll call this function. So this compare guess to secret number, or let's even just call this like user guess, right? Is it's not something that the user is going to call. It's something that our functions are going to call internally. Right? So with the user guess, here, just like the upper and lower limit here, we're actually going to, instead of having them input it this way, we'll get it through this input function, right? So please guess a number. And now we're prompting them for a number, and we'll say that number is guess. So we run user guess. It doesn't have any parameters for the user. I don't know if we have to put self in there or not. We'll find out. So please guess a number. They will guess, and then we'll go through all of this, and either they will have guessed it or not, right? And if they guessed it, if they do guess it, we'll print congratulations, you guessed the secret number, and turn the game off, right? Set game on defaults. If it's too high or too low, we'll tell them you guessed too high or too low, and game will still be on. In which case, game on will still be true, right? So, and what do we? So we'll keep doing this, and then what do we want to output once game on? Once they guess the number and game on equals false, now this while loop will end, right? And then what do we want to output after the while loop, after the game is over? Huh? The end. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you could print like, I mean, this is cheesy, right? But like, congratulations. Oh no, we already have them. Yeah, we already told them like, congratulations, you guessed the secret number, right? We already told them that in this thing. So that'll automatically end it. Okay, so let's try it. Maybe we're missing something. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, so to play this, first of all, we need to instantiate it. We'll just call it game equals number game between 1 and 100. Yeah, I think somewhere we do need. Where is this? 3 were given. Yeah. We're asking. Yeah, that's right. Okay, enter a lower limit, 1, upper limit, 100. Okay, you have selected a lower limit of 1 and an upper limit of 100. Now what's our error? You can only concatenate string, not int to string. Where is this? Okay. So when we input this 1 and 100, it's being inputted as a string. So here we have to, I'm going to give some space here, first of all, for the lower limit and the upper limit. Okay. Here, let's change lower limit equals, and I'm going to cast this as an int. Well, maybe I'll just do it like this. So lower limit equals int of lower limit. Right? We'll cast these as integers, so we don't have this trouble anymore. Upper limit is an int of upper limit. Right, and now hopefully these will be integers. I'm going to put some extra. Another thing I'm going to do, look, if you look down here, the output is like very cramped. So please enter a lower limit and upper limit, but then it gives us, so I'm going to enter a little spacing there. So I would do that. You have selected a lower limit. I'm going to put in a \n to kind of put a space between there. Now let's try it again. Okay, number game. Please enter a lower limit, 1 and 100. Okay, you have selected a lower limit of 1 and an upper limit of 100. And it stopped. Why didn't it go on? Okay, because our constructor is outside of the function play. So now we have game. Whoops. Now we have game, and we can push play. We can play. Let's call the function and. Oh, am I inside of a? Oops. Okay. Name user guess is not defined. So this error is kicking it out here. Probably, maybe I need to call this self. Okay. So notice here, this is, I don't use classes or objects very often, but notice in this function play, we're calling the method, the function user guess, but that user guess is also a function inside of this class. So if you want to use that function, you also have to call self in front of it. So, okay, so please guess a number. By the way, let's just cheat a little bit. Can we cheat? Let's just peek at what the secret number is, right? So that we can kind of error check it. So the secret number, we can just, right, because Python allows us to do this. Let's just look at the secret number. Oh, so I'm in the middle of this. It won't let me do it. Okay. Oops. What's wrong? Something happened. I'm going to stop. All right. Okay, the secret number is 91. So, okay, let's play. Choose a number. Let's choose 91. It's running infinitely. That means something is wrong with our while loop. Okay, so here we tried to set game on to false. I think probably we need to do this. Probably we need to do this outside of this function. So I'm just going to make a game on, a local version of game on, and turn it to call it true. And then here, I will set it equal to false if we guess the secret number. Else, the game on will still be true. And here I'm just going to return game on. I'm not putting self here because this game on is a local variable. It's local to this function, right? So when this function returns either true or false, that's when we need to set game on equal to the value that's returned from that function, right? So let's try it like this. So we'll run user guess, and it will run this function, and it will return game on, which is either true by default, unless it's false because we guess the secret number, right? And when it returns that either true or false value, then in the while loop, we'll set game on equal to that, right? And then it'll update it. So hopefully that'll update and not have us run this forever. Secret number is now 79. Okay, let's play. let's choose 79. Now this should set game on equal to false and end the game, right? Oh, but it's not. What are we doing? What's wrong? Can we choose another number? What's wrong? Okay, so something's wrong. So let's error check this. So ooh, good call. Okay. So this is we did it before, but we didn't do it here. Right. So if guess, and it wouldn't have told us that, it would just compare them and yeah, okay, let's see if that does it. So we accept guess and then we're turning it into an integer. Okay. Good catch. Okay. Choose a number. Let's choose 60. Something. So something's getting stuck in the while loop. So we're definitely entering the while loop, and we're doing user guess the first time, right? And so we're definitely getting here. Please guess a number, right? And then we're entering that number. So this is where with error checking. So now we have to error check because we don't know if we're somehow stuck inside of this function or if we went through this function, but then somehow we're still kind of stuck. Like maybe we finished the function, but then here, this while loop, it's not updating game on, right? So we're not exactly sure where the problem is. So what I do is I start, like, I know that this part is working, right? I know that we got into please guess a number because it's prompting us for a number. But after that, I don't know where the problem is, right? So this is where I'm going to start adding, I'm going to have it print out statements to see, like, if I get to that statement, then I know I'm going that far. And if I don't hit that statement, then the error is there, right? So let's, first of all, let's print you entered. And then we'll enter guess. Right? So let's just see if we're at least accepting the input, right? Secret number is 10. We're going to play. Let's put in 10. So it didn't even do that. It should have at least print here. So please guess a number. We guess a number. It saved it. This is it. Somehow it's still stuck on. It's still stuck on the input. Let's go back and look here real fast. So why would we be so we've got input. So let's look at the Python input function. So there's a prompt, and then let me pause the recording real fast. Okay, so there was no error. I was just stupid enough pressing enter. Okay, so let's go back up. So we choose a number 10, enter. You guessed too low. That's correct. Okay, so let's go game on. Resume. It's me and my lack of familiarity with user input. Okay, so 1 and 100. 99. This is so weird. We keep getting this 99. Oh, sorry. Okay, secret number is 14. All right, gameplay. Please guess the number. So let's guess 14. Okay, congratulations, you guessed the secret number 14, and it ended, right? There's no star here because our function like when we guessed 14, it turned game on to false. We exited the while loop and it stopped going, right? So let's play again. Okay, so now if you push play, right, it just ended. So it if you push play again, it still printed this out, but it didn't enter the while loop. Why? Because game on is false, right? So if we want to play the game multiple times, then every time that we push play, we need to reset game on to true. So now if we play one, now we should be able to play more than one time. Okay, so the secret number is 95. Let's play. Okay, between, oh, 1 is too low, right? Please guess the number. What should we choose? Give me some numbers. 99. Oh, 99 is too high. What else? 80, too low. Okay, we know the number is 95. So, okay, number 95, congratulations, you guessed the secret number, it ended. Now, if we run it again, it's going to let us play it again, but it didn't change the secret number, right? Okay, let's not look at the secret number and let's actually play this game for real now. Okay, let's play. 50, good. Too high. Huh? Too high. Too high. Too low. Too high. Too high. Congratulations. Okay, let's do one more thing. I want to do one more thing to just make this game a little bit more challenging. Not challenging, but a little bit more competitive. I want to keep track of how many times it took us to guess. Okay, how would I do that? So it's working, right? I mean, we got it working. This is how it's supposed to work. That's good. How would we keep track of how many times we've played? So this is we need another state variable, right? So you needed one state variable to tell you whether the game was on or not, right? That's a very simple state variable. Are we playing, is the game on or not? We need another variable. There's another state of the game, which is each round, right? So each round you play is you're moving to a different round, right? So if we want to track that, are we in the second round? Are we in the third round? Are we in the fourth round? Right? We can make a variable to track that state, and then we can update it. So let's make a state variable called round. Oh, I don't want to use round because it's already, we'll call it game round, okay? And we'll set it equal to 0. Now, we should also instantiate that. So when we instantiate the game, we turn the game on and we set game round equal to 1. Okay. And then each time we play the game, right, the user guesses. So when you enter the while loop, you'll be in round 1. Okay? But actually, we could instantiate it here, but we also might want to, if we're going to play the game a second time, we're going to run into the same issue. So we can we might want to reset it each time that we push play. So now with this kind of instantiation function is we'll come back to this in a second. Okay, so we'll set this equal to 1. Now when you enter the while loop, it's round 1. What do we want to do? Or you could even have it be round 0. Let's have it be round 0. And then you enter the round. When you enter the while loop, you haven't had any rounds yet. You haven't had any guesses, right? So after you do this user guess, notice while we're in the while loop, we're updating this state variable of game on. Let's also update the state variable of game round. Right? So we need to update this state variable. Game round is now what? +1, right? Game round plus equals 1. So we're just going to increment it each time we play. Okay. But when we finish the game, then we should report it, right? Then at the end of the game. So now, and we don't want to do that inside of the while loop, right? We want to do that at the end of the game. So after like when we're outside of the while loop. So we can say, once we've finished playing the game, and then we will exit the while loop. And then after the while loop, we can report like, we've already reported, congratulations, you guessed the secret number 7, right? Now I want to add a little bit of spacing here. Like, please guess a number. Congratulations. I'm gonna add some like \n's to kind of enter some spaces between these, right? Congratulations, you guessed the secret number. Now you exit the while loop and let's print so like it took you, right? You guessed in how many tries? And it took you, you guessed the number, the secret number in self game round tries. Oops. Okay, so now we're gonna, right, please choose a number. You enter the game, you guess, you increment game round each time. Once you're done, this user guess will already tell you whether you guessed the correct number or not. So we know that. congratulations, you guessed the secret number. And if you've exited the while loop, then it will print out how the current state of game round, which is how many times it took you to guess the number, right? So let's run this. Okay, so number game, lower limit 1, upper limit 100. We'll bypass this. Okay, and now let's play the game. So please guess a number. Huh? Okay. Too low. So maybe I think these ones I don't want to. I always like kind of tweak my output as I go on. Okay, 15. What else? Too low. Huh? 40. Okay. Too high. Too high. Too high. Too low. Too low. Huh? Too low. Okay. Congratulations, you guessed the secret number. You guessed it in 8 tries. Right? So, and that was, let's see, so 15, 40, 32, 25, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So this is how you can, so I think that, yes, this is an example of how to create an object, right? Or to create a class a few things are happening here, right? You're using a while loop to call the function like multiple times. And but the main point here with when you're playing games or with any kind of application is that you have to track the state, right, of whatever current state you're in. So the two important states in this game, number one is the game still on or off? Is the game over? Or are we still playing? And the second thing you have to track is what's the round? What round are we in, right? So, okay. No, I didn't mean to do that. One last thing I want to do is instead of, I'm not exactly sure if we can do this or not. See how we're putting the instantiating function first and then we're playing the game. I want to see if we can put the instantiating function inside of play so that we just call play and then it instantiates, right? Can we do that? Or do we have to? Well, I don't think we can do that, right? Because so we can do that, but we can't. So let's. I want to. What is this step 3? I want to do one more thing. External function to manage game game setup and gameplay. Okay, so the problem here is one of the problems is that you can't just call gameplay, right? You have to first you have to set up the number game this way, and then you have to call the function play. So I want to call a function that facilitates all of this, right? So let's just try, let's just see, play a game. Let's see, play number game. And this is going to call these functions for me. The super simple function, right? But it will facilitate this. So all I have to do now is type play number game. run that. And it's going to call the instantiator. So I don't actually have to type out this game equals number game thing, right? Right. And then right after that, it's going to start the gameplay, right? So you have selected a lower limit of 1 and an upper limit of, now let's play the number game. Choose a number between 1 and 100. Let's see. Sorry. So I was calling these earlier, but I just want to, okay, so lower limit of 1, 100. Yeah. Why is it not? Let's play the number game. Where is it? I want to put a space here. Anyways, okay, yeah, it's 50, 25, too low. Oh, sorry, 75, too low, 80, too low, 90, too low, 95, too low. Ooh. 97, too low, 98. Okay. Yeah. Right. So this is how we kind of, so you have some methods, right? This user guess and the play game and this instantiator, these three things are working. But before we had to call these like one at a time, right? And you had to know how to do that. Now we can just create this external function that calls a number game class, it saves it as a game, and it instantiates it, right? So every time that we call this function play number game, right? And what if we want to like play again? So what if we want to play this game again? So it's the exact same thing that we did before with game on, right? But one level higher. So we're going to call this play on, right? We'll call this keep playing. True. While keep playing. Right. And the fact that like within the while, each time that we play, we're going to create a new number game, right? So this means that it's going to reset the secret number every time, right? So keep playing, and then we play, and then after we play, then you want to prompt the user, right? So here, you want to play again, right? Now I'm not gonna do any fancy error checking here, but I'll say like, 0 for yes, but 0 for no, 1 for yes, right? So that the user can put in 1 or let's say N for no, Y for yes, okay, like that. You want to keep playing, and then that will save that input. And then if want to keep playing equals Y, let's say if it's Y, then we'll keep playing as true still. So this is like some simple form of error checking, right? If want to keep playing is Y, we'll keep playing. I'm just gonna say else. If they put in anything other than Y, I'm gonna say keep playing as false. Right? See ya. Okay, so here I prompt the user after we play. I prompt the user, do you want to play again? I prompt them to enter lowercase n or y for yes or no. We collect that and then we check if they want to keep playing. If they entered yes, we'll keep playing is still true. Probably this is redundant. We don't need that, but we'll put it in there anyways, just for it doesn't hurt. And then yes, print, awesome. Let's play again, and this will be true, and like it'll instantiate a new game, right? If it's false, if they enter anything besides y, if they enter lowercase n or anything else, the game ends, right? So keep playing equals false. We will exit this loop, and then I print this out, right? Okay, so let's run it. Lower limit, upper limit, 50, too low. Here, let's stop. We're gonna just, let's do it between 1 and 5. Okay, 3, too high, 2, too high. Yay, okay, guess it in 3 tries. Right, do you want to play again? No or yes? No or yes? Yes. Awesome, let's play again, right? 1 and 10. Okay, 5, too low. 7, too high. 6, want to play again, right? So but this kind of managing, this is one thing, is like a class is not very good at managing itself, right? So with the class, you can manage like, even within the class, it's hard to, you can't like set up you can't call the object. Like you can't have this play function like instantiate itself because it doesn't exist yet, right? So you can't call this game play and then have like number game be like instantiate the values inside, right? So first you have to like define the game, right? So one thing you could do, one other thing you could do is when you instantiate the game here, we could call the play function inside of the instantiator, right? So this is like one more way. Oops, sorry. Stop. So internal, have the class manage play internally. So we could rewrite it. So this is one way. You can write an external function to like instantiate it and all of this, right? Or you could have the initiation function do this. Let's try this. So we've got this play function, right? Here, when we initiate, we could just add the play function, right? So you could put all of this management stuff inside of the initiating function itself, right? So yeah, you've and actually we'd want to do that inside, right? If then game is on, and then you can play. If the upper limit is larger than the upper limit, then play. So here, well, let's instantiate the game. So play, and then we'll basically do everything that this function was doing earlier. right? Play the number game. Let's put this inside of the function. Okay, so we've got play number game. Now play number game is inside of the function. So we're going to try to help it manage itself, right? So you've got play number game. We need to add keep playing as another state function. So now we've got, these are constants, but they are track game state of each game. And this is a constant. This is tracking state of play, right? So you might, right? So we have two, now we have kind of two levels of state, right? You can, one is keep playing, where we want to keep playing. The game might have ended, but we still want to keep playing, right? So we have, so we want to keep playing is true, but game on could be false, and so we have to establish a new game, right? So here, instantiate play. Let's not any one game, but we're going to instantiate play. So when we instantiate play, gosh, I don't even know if we can do this. I think it's actually better to create two classes. So you've got the number game here, and you leave it by itself. And then you have class number game manager player. And then this right. So we'll leave this class just for each game. Right. So this class is for the game. And then we'll create another class which manage gameplay. Right? So okay, so keep playing is true. Now, so the number game player, it's going to open up, it's going to run this function to play a game. Well, this is the same as just doing the function. Yeah, but you can, I don't even know. I'm just wondering if you can call this recursively. I think the trouble with managing itself is that once you're inside of a game, like to have the game call another version of itself, you could do it, but I think it's probably not good coding practice. So I think probably I'm just gonna stop here with this external function. I think that's probably the best, because what I'm doing now, like creating a second class, that's essentially creating a second class for this play number game function, this external function, and it's not like adding any Yeah, what I wanted to do is inside of number game, like have call the game. If you're just gonna play the game once, you know, then you could you know, you could just call self play. And then it would just start, right? So you could have the game call itself. Right, and then just end. So you could do that and just call this. So when you call the constructor, it'll prompt you to enter the lower and the upper limit, and then it'll play itself, right? So you could do that, and it would be like one round. But if you want to play it more than one time, I don't think you can have it like. You might be able to have. I don't know. You'd probably, it'd be recursive. So you'd like have it call another version of itself inside of it. And I don't think that you could do it, but I think it's just better practice to have this external function kind of manage it, right? So now we've got two ways to play it. If you just want to play it one time, you play one time, you can just invoke it this way, right? And to play multiple times, you can just call this play number game function, right? And then run it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think today we'll pause there. Tic-tac-toe, I can. So next time, do you guys want to do tic-tac-toe, or do you want to do the automatic like website notification up? So tic-tac-toe will be like a slightly more complicated version of this. The website notification is like, you know, it'll have us go look at a web page, see if something has been updated or not, and then give us some automatic notification if there's been a change or an update. So do you want to do more of this, or do you want to do something different? Website? Any other votes? Yeah. How about there in the Zoom land? Any preferences? And stop. Okay, so yeah, I think next week we'll just do the website notification updater, and it's fun. Like once you kind of get the idea of that, you can use Python to like fully automate your life, right? We're gonna be like walking AI. Okay, yeah, I think Google also, or Zoom also wants the website. So okay. Also, so next week, that one's going to be a little bit shorter, right? I'll probably run that for like an hour. And then we have the skills test, right? So the Python 102 skills test will be next week at 4 o'clock. It'll be 30 minutes. We'll take a probably 10-minute break after that. And then if you didn't pass, if you want to take this Python 101 skills test, that will also be offered afterwards, because some people took the 101. They want to take both the 101 and the 102. So I'm going to offer those both next week for those who haven't passed 101. So, okay. All right. Catch you guys next week.